Yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm so ready for this. I am extremely ready for this. We ready?
Ready to go.
We got this round squared away.
This is your champion.
This might be a good place to land. Enemy spotted.
Let's land here.
Maybe we land here. Or maybe we don't. Fine with whatever.
Hold on tight. It's time to drop, shock, and rock. Let's check out this area.
Attention. First blood.
Oh, someone got the party started.
Round one. Beginning.
Mozambique here.
Lucky us, we are already inside the ring.
Evade here. Gotta hop up here. Golf fisher.
Yeah, I could use that.
Let's reposition here. Gotta hop up here. Turbocharger. Gotta hop up here. Select fire.
Using grapple.
Champion eliminated.
Body shield here. Level 2.
Setting up a zip line.
Gotta hop up
New
here.
kill leader
Select fire.
appointed.
New kill leader. Watch your 6.
Body shield here. Level 2.
Body shield here. Level 2. Prowler SMG here.
Dibs. Eva 8 here. I need heavy ammo.
Half the squads are left. Let's smoke them. Optics here. Close range. Gotta hop up here. Select fire.
Optics here.
Close range.
1 minute before the ring closes. We have time.
Rings next door, 45.
Backpack here. Level
Extended
1.
light magazine here, level 2.
I need an extended heavy mag. 30 seconds. Ring's close.
Seconds. Ring's just ahead. 7 down here.
Here I go.
Warning. Ring closing. New kill leader appointed.
Gotta hop up here. Barrel choke.
Rings move. Gotta hop up here. Select fire.
Watch out for the new kill leader, friend. Grappling.
Let's go this way.
Attention. Delivering care package.
Care package incoming. Let's get to the LZ. Let's go this way. Let's check out this area. Target over there. Hostile spotted.
Round 2. Beginning ring countdown.
Lucky us.
Hemlock
We are
here.
already inside the ring.
New kill leader appointed.
Someone's gotta take out the new kill leader. That's too cocky.
Hostile over there.
Got him.
Firing.
Got him. Reloading.
Only 2 enemy squads left.
Put the light down, Rich. Be ready. Incoming frag. Smoke out.
Proceeding down.
Give me a sec. Recharging shields.
Sending out my decoy.
Making contact with enemy.
Shots fired.
Okay, I'll be nice. You weren't. God, it's so good.
I accept the challenge.
Clips are what civvies use in their hair. This is called a magazine. I know what you're looking for. I'm in.
This is your champion.
Supply ship over there.
Dropping in. Hang on.
Attention. First blood.
First blood. FNGs always go first.
Body shield here. Level 1. I'm getting hit over here. Firing. Enemy down.
Round one.
Reloading.
We're spread out a lot. Look at the map.
Killed an enemy.
We're inside the ring. Got the positional advantage.
Reloading.
Shotgun bolt here. Level 3. They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Opening fire. I downed an enemy.
Reloading.
Charging my shields. Smoke out. Healing up. Eyes are open though.
Giving him the chimney.
Spitfire here. Contact with hostile.
The enemies are shooting at me.
Getting shot at.
Reloading. Hey, where's...
Look out, grenade. I'm down.
I am repairing myself.
Contact with target.
You and me now. Pony up.
Who's ready to fly on a zipline? I am. I am repairing myself. I am taking fire, friends. I have been downed.
Popping the chimney.
Surprise.
Vent, det var fordi jeg ikke havde shot. The fuck?
All that matters is
I
being the
came here
last
to
one
party.
alive.
Let's rock.
We will defeat all of our enemies.
Introducing your champion.
This is awesome. I'm the jump master.
Here we go. Ready up. Firing. Found an enemy. Reloading. Enemy taken out.
Attention. First blood.
We just took first blood. Kill confirmed. They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Reloading. Reloading. Spotted. Double timing it. Contact. Pop and smoke. Eating lead. Reloading. They got me. I'm down. Contact. On my marker.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown. New kill leader appointed.
Of life calls for you.
What the fuck, no.
Listen and fight.
I think we're going to do great,
It's
friend.
only over when it's over.
This is your champion.
You better not romp with me. This might be a good place. Forget that. Enough lambing around. We dropping.
Enemy down.
I need help.
Reloading. Good job, me.
Come on, say hello. Reloaded.
Phasing.
Danger. Move.
I've been down. I'm going over there. Got a good feeling about this area.
Follow the leader!
Attention. First blood.
First blood.
Attention. The champion has been eliminated.
Sniper stock here.
Beginning
Level 3.
Countdown.
We are not all in the ring. The gust of wind will lead us to victory.
New kill leader. Watch for them.
Optics here. Optics here. I need to hop up.
marking our surroundings.
New kill leader, soon to be me. I need a backpack. Optics here. Mid-range. Get the bamboozling. Shotgun bolt here. Level 3.
I need light ammo.
Got one spotted. Spotted one.
You're in their sights.
Fuck this game.
Traveling to Route 66. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Hi again, Diva.
Hello. Hello, dude.
Hello, dude.
Dude.
Dude.
Are you better armored than me?
What?
I said, are you better armored than me?
Probably not.
I don't think.
He was a pretty good hammer last game.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I was close to have the play of the game. But this fucking daddy.
Is your video good, dude? You want me to damage boost you? Oui.
Yeah.
5, 4,
Only me, only me.
2, 1. Attack commences.
Yeah.
Escort the payload.
I'm moving the payload.
Are you French?
Yeah.
Suce-moi bite.
Oh!
Okay, I lost it.
Oh, you fucked my brain.
Ah, shit. Just need to concentrate.
On the way. No one can hide from sight.
Heroes never die.
Fight for it. Got you. You still need me. Thank you. Healing it up.
60 seconds.
Detecting excitement. Full speed.
To the iris.
30 seconds. Score 0-0. Switching sides. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero. Attackers incoming.
Imagination is the essence of discovery. Hello there.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Time to heal up. Stop the payload.
Time for new adventure. Enemy spotted.
Is approaching its destination.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated.
Defeat. Traveling to Horizon Luna. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Control link established.
The true struggle is for the superiority by attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Combat operations will begin soon. In transit.
Five, Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Switching to combat readiness. Clear impact area. Speed maximum. Repairing. Weapons linked.
No one can hide from my sight.
وريهم قوتك.
Feeling powerful and not fighting an angry.
This will heal.
Ready for combat.
Olhem, marioneta.
You're powered up. Get in there.
This would help.
Navigating.
60 seconds remaining.
No one can hide from my sight.
Roadkill.
My ultimate is almost charged.
30 seconds remaining.
I require assistance.
Огонь по готовности. Surrender to my will. 10 seconds. You're powered up. Get in there. Objective lost. New defense point. Objective B.
Rolling out.
I understand.
Move up at my position.
Ultimate charger.
sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Established.
Just like in training. Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Rolling out. Engaging.
Attack commencing.
System under malfunction.
No.
System initialized.
Motherfucker is playing side.
Shield engaged. System repaired.
وريهم قوتك.
Command attack objective. Activating shield.
At your service. See through the
Speed maximum. Scanning coordinates. Coordinate your attacks. Dropping.
60 seconds.
Repairing. Engaging. Clear impact. Unsafe position.
Fire at will.
Cease into the iris.
Bob, do something!
Becoming one with the objective.
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective B.
In transit.
Anna, at the hand.
Navigating.
Thank you.
System initialized. Impact.
Do something!
Experience nothingness.
My ultimate is ready.
Where's the sun?
Ready for combat.
冻住，不许走！
System
Form up.
60 seconds remaining.
clear in that area.
Watching you, no one.
Unsafe position.
Ready for transcendence.
Activating shield.
Deactivated. 30 seconds remaining.
Not have time to wait. Act done now.
I am taking the objective.
Speed maximum.
Routing power, forward barrier.
No more time to wait. Let's get this done.
Got your back.
Do something! Traveling to Volskaya Industries. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Enfin, c'est dire. Bon, ça ne durera pro.
Let's gather some valuable data on this mission.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Hostile environment.
Fire!
Low temperatures detected.
Hi! I tried my best. Fire! Hiya! Let's snowball fight!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commences. Capture objective A.
Everyone, move together!
Enemy turret ahead! Enemy turret down! Enemy turret ahead!
I feel like a new man.
Hi!
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective B.
Check this out!
Optic is charging. Snowball fight! Hi! I'm on the objective. Come join me. Hiya!
This life's never uneventful. My ultimate's ready.
My ultimate is almost ready. Group up with me. I'm ready to start a blizzard. Get up.
No money.
Everyone, stay out of my way. Join me. Sorry. Ready for duty. Привет. Greetings. Hiya.
This will happen.
Thank you, kind.
Into the iris.
high tide.
Score. So I wouldn't have to see some not select. 'Cause baby, I know you know I'm the one for you, baby.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
The moon is not going to be here for long.
I'm not one for standing around.
Soon enough, we will all be dead.
Attackers in 36.
Let's put our differences aside.
Group up here.
There are two types of people in this world. Harmony people who love to
Shut the
have...
fuck up, sweetheart.
Up here.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. For the motherland. Enemy contact.
Got unfinished business.
We're all soldiers now.
Greetings. Thank you.
Objective lost.
Yeah.
New defense point. Objective B.
Moira by your side.
Time for trouble. Get into position.
Get here.
Into the iris.
That's better. Damn it. Much better.
Apagando las luces. وليهم قوتك.
Fire at will!
Time to raise my hand. Hiya! I'm ready to start a blizzard.
I don't quit till the fight's done.
My ultimate is charging.
you in my sights. Into the
Group up here.
much better.
Score 2-2. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
We're all soldiers now.
Привет! Hello! Физкульт, привет!
Quit scrolling around and get ready to move.
Физкульт, привет!
Attackers
Group up with
incoming
me.
in 30 seconds.
Привет!
Hi. Group up here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Let's get this party started. Here they come.
Need help.
The war goes on.
Greetings! Привет!
My ultimate in charge.
Objective lost. New defense
That's better.
Do something!
Heal up here.
What we will win.
Are you ready? Not dead yet.
Justice reigns from above.
I've got you in my sights. I love the smell of transmission falling.
Score 2-4. Switching sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Физкульт, привет!
Just with it.
Back in the fight.
I will protect the innocent.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
Up with me. Thank you.
Good, привет. Привет.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Greetings. Good, привет.
You're powered up. Get in there.
This gunslinger's loaded.
Rains from above. Fire. Seconds remaining.
What?
Attack the objective.
Watching your back.
My objective is mine. Up with me.
30 seconds.
Push the attack now.
Take the objective. Join me. Nerf this.
Pass into the iris.
Everyone attack.
Setting up on the objective.
Back in the saddle again.
I am capturing the objective. Try and stop.
Administered.
Get behind me.
Hi.
30 seconds remaining.
Attack
Commence.
Attack the objective. Attack the objective. Not have time to wait. Attack now.
It's
I'm on the objective.
Justice reigns. With it.
control link established.
Defeat.
Which one is the weapons?
This is a transport ship.
This American must be weapons somewhere.
Blondie, Zeit zum Töten. Ganz leise bitte. sign an end-user license agreement. No one reads that shit, man. It's a wholly binding contract.
In your science fiction stories, whenever humans meet an alien race, it is you that are frightened and weak. We couldn't take over the world because you already had. Truth so often is stranger than fiction.
My mother watched you die.
I knew you would be back.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Sieg heil! Mutterfickers!
I will protect the innocent. Hello. Привет. Reinhard, I must say, you're looking quite well. The slide must agree with you.
And you are looking as lovely as ever.
Get back. Last minute check. Everyone squared away?
Физкульт, привет.
Much better.
Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Привет.
1. I will attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Let's get a move.
Физкульт, привет.
Don't worry, my friend.
I will not fail again.
Healing enough. Hello. Привет. Greetings. Физкульт, привет.
Objective lost. Stop the payload. Entry confirmed.
Rendezvous at my position.
وريهم قوتك. Unstoppable. Back online.
Физкульт, привет.
Get back.
Hello. Привет. Very well. Acknowledge.
Clearing the area. Rally to me!
Raptora systems online.
Greetings. Физкульт, привет.
The payload has reached the chip.
Clearing the area.
Health restored. Much better.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Step right up.
That's how it's done.
That guy's heads up.
Justice reigns from above. Raptora systems online. Warrior with Fire with
Experience festivity.
My ultimate is
Back
charging.
into the fray. My ultimate is charging. Bob, do something! Clearing the area. Like those. Much better. Clearing the area. Move back.
My ultimate is charged up.
Clearing the area. Barrage ready.
Festivity.
Justice reigns from above.
Iris.
Fire at will. System confirmed. Clearing the area. Enemy contact. Clearing the area.
Hello. That's what happens.
Destination.
Nap time. Enemy in my
Score 0-3. Switching sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
I will protect the innocent.
A disciplined mind is your most dependable ally.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Anna, how can this be? I thought you were dead.
I'm sorry, Ron. After everything that happened. Hello. Disculpe, привет. Move back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing.
Enemy contact.
Don't worry, my friend. I have your key.
Objective A captured.
I'm in aim. Escorting the payload.
Move! Out of my way! Come on, I got a tea time today.
Back into the fray.
The Mahol.
Nanoboost administered. Your few distractions. Get up back. My ultimate is almost ready.
Without fear.
Experience festivity.
Fire at will. Chest off. Огонь по готовности. Chest off. Raptora systems online. Clearing the area.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
This will help.
Get back.
وريهم قوتك.
Calling the payload. Calling the
Kill the Mahol.
Огонь по готовности.
Is approaching its destination.
Back into the fray.
A turret lies in our way.
Group up! Group up with me!
The payload rests idle.
Enemy turret ahead.
Experience
Festivity.
Back in action.
Move back.
This will help.
Raptora systems online.
We need to get the payload moving.
Group up. Group up here.
Justice reigns from above. Girls on the whole. I am on a roll. Nanoboost
is charging. Get this doggy moving. Group up.
Привет! Физкульт, привет! Greeting!
System repaired.
Enemy turret eliminated!
60 seconds remaining.
This will help.
Join me.
Back in action.
Привет!
My ultimate is almost ready.
My ultimate is charging. We need to keep the payload. Физкульт, привет! My ultimate is ready.
30 seconds remaining.
Time is running out. Press the attack.
Experience festivity.
Let's move. Enemy turret. Girls on the whole.
Triple kill. 10 seconds.
My whip.
Still coming at you.
Wicked! Nothing's gonna stop.
Defeat. Play of the game.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Traveling to Nepal. Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
Nice, Ryan. I sneezed. Oh, I'm not allowed to. Nice, Ryan. I sneezed. Oh.
Cheers, love. The cavalry's here.
Any adjustments to your chronal accelerator?
I think. Just kidding, Winston. It works great.
Nothing's gonna stop us.
Georgie! Jenna! Jenna, Jenna, look at her video.
One, capture the objective. Огонь по готовности!
Thank you.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Pulse bomb ready.
I hear you.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Oh, turn it up.
Objective captured. Initiate objective capture.
Watch your back. Helden sterben nicht. And she's back in the game. You got what's coming to you.
Team up for special attack.
This is not the fun. Back to work.
My rib tire is all back ready. Oh, let's break it. Damn!
Here comes the something.
I'm taking the objective. You know you want to.
I recommend nano boost administered.
Unstoppable.
Let's try that again. Allah till men.
Ma per agosto. Veda. Hai? Urzet biteli uketia. Veda. Hai? Izirsi. Şora şena ha. Georgi. Georgi. Şena ha. İzine 你那个是很迷酒。你这个。这里去。去给那车里去。下面这里大概公里跑的。哦，前年是啥的？这个是。你吃了，我给这个你啊。你干啥回事啊？알아, 남이래.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
I passed many an hour of my misspent youth here.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
My friends, God's resources standing around. There's glory to be won.
Hello. Hello.
5, 4, 3, 1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Let's get a move on.
Enemy turret ahead.
My ultimate is ready.
This would help.
Nano boost administered.
I feel powerful.
Огонь по готовности!
All patched up.
Do something!
My ultimate is ready.
Nano
I am unstoppable.
My ultimate is charged.
All
My
patched
blade
up.
is ready to be unleashed.
seconds.
Much
remaining.
better.
It's gonna make you feel better.
You've got to be okay. Огонь по готовности!
We're running out of time. Everyone, attack.
Pass into the unknown.
Justice reigns from above!
The objective is mine. The white tiger becomes me. I'm on fire.
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective B.
I'll show them.
Огонь по готовности! Something! Fire at will! Do something!
Back to work.
My ultimate is ready. My blade is ready to be unleashed.
It's time.
My blade is ready to be unleashed. My ultimate is ready.
Огонь по готовности!
Team kill.
Game on.
the unknown.
It's me.
Огонь по готовности! That's the top.
Round 1. Complete. Score 1-0. Switching sides. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Hey, all these lollies call me. Rubbing on her thighs, she stay wet for her. Shawty so kawaii and would die for her. Ride and watch hentai all the time with. Etchy till I die, all these lollies call me. Rubbing on.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Now see what Perseverance is the key.
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
I think you'll win.
Objective lost. New defense point.
Winston reporting.
Let's get started.
Here it comes. Do something. Justice reigns from above.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different type of video. It's because I am dedicating to somebody who reached out to me on Twitter, and to me reached me at a very deep level, to the point where I had to think to myself about the things that she said and had to agree with a lot of them. Now, I still definitely stand by all my statements that I've made previously, especially all my statements about Captain Marvel, but I also understand that there are a lot of people that watch this channel not just to see me go off on my angry rants, so I'm sure there's many people who enjoy those, but also there are people out there that enjoy me when I'm a little bit more level-headed and speak about something that I'm passionate about. And so I decided to dedicate my video to that today. Not to say that I'm not going to have a few things to say about Captain Marvel, because we just, can't get away from it just yet. It has just come out, and it is a gigantic success across the world. But this is indeed dedicated to Estelle, or at Devil Ponytail. So hello to you. This is dedicated to you, and thank you for reaching out to me. And thank you just for being honest with me. It was one of those things where it wasn't, a, oh, you're so wrong, and oh, why are you doing this? It was simply a, hey, this is someone who started watching your channel because of this reason, and it would be really nice to see you, kind of mix it up and not just be negative all the time. And I totally understand where you're coming from on that. So thank you for reaching out to me. It really does mean a lot. And so I will go ahead and speak something that I'm very, very passionate about in a very positive way, which is, or rather, passionate about this specific thing in a positive way. However, there's definitely a lot of things that make me angry about some of the reception of it. But that is, of course, Alita Battle Angel. But before I get into Alita Battle Angel, it's so funny because, as you can see here from her tweet, so again, it is Estelle at Devil Ponytail. She says, here responding to some news that Gagan on Twitter at Gaga ND Hinsa 13, so you can see it for yourself. Sorry if I totally butchered that, if I'm saying it wrong, but he's actually said something very interesting, and that is that Captain Marvel made $6.33 million on Monday. This is a very bad holdover. So this is actually matching up a lot with what we saw yesterday. This is something that I did not cover in my box office videos, but apparently the Sunday numbers for Captain Marvel dropped about 35%, which is, I think, the most. I think it was reported being the biggest drop for any superhero film on a Sunday opening weekend, which seems to indicate that the film very well might drop a gigantic amount by next weekend. Doesn't mean that it's not going to make giant money elsewhere. Doesn't mean it's not going to do well anywhere else in the world, but it is still something worth noting nonetheless. The reason why I bring that up is because it definitely ties into Alita to the point where he says here, this is less than the Alita Battle Angel hold. And so for those that forget, Alita Battle Angel actually opened to less money than Captain Marvel did. How in China, that is, worldwide and in China. But it held on much better into the Monday after it came out opening weekend. So that's actually something I think very good for Alita Battle Angel, because it shows that people didn't just drop off from it. People didn't just give up on it altogether. And it shows that obviously Alita Battle Angel has something very special about it that a lot of people were looking forward to, were wanting to support, and ended up continuing to support, to the point where there is some really good news that I have to report in a little bit about Alita Battle Angel. Not the best news that we could hear, but still good news nonetheless, and it was being tweeted at me yesterday, and I think I'd made comments about it in some of my live streams, but it is something that I want to talk about officially on the channel. But anyway, Estelle, this is for you, and I love how she says, me, encourage Odin to stop spreading the negative. Also me, here's the news for Captain Marvel. So thank you for tagging me in this, and also again, thank you so much for reaching out to me. But speaking of Alita Battle Angel, talking about some of the most recent box office numbers, someone was, there were several other people saying, can you please give us an update, a box office update for Alita Battle Angel? And I was saying, hey, I'm still waiting for some numbers to come in, and I'm glad that I waited, because we also got some other things to talk about as well. But as you can see here, Alita Battle Angel, made another, let's see, $11.6 million overseas. It's also domestically over up to $78 million, because it made another $3.2 million in the United States, ranking 5th at the box office, bringing the overall total to $382 million. Now, as I've mentioned previously, the break-even number, according to my own calculations, was around $430 million. Now, according to them, and it says it right here, Fox has said that the break-even number for the movie, according to them, was $350 to $400 million, which seems a little bit low to me. Obviously, they know a lot more about the finances than I do. They could obviously just be putting those numbers out there just to try and get people off the trail, or just to try and confuse people. That very well could happen. So honestly, I think that it's still a little bit too low, just based off of the standard things, the standard way that movies pay for not only their production budget, but also the way that marketing tends to go. I will always just go with the rule of thumb with that, which is you take half of the production budget, take that and add it to the production budget, and that's what you get your overall total with. And then when you have your overall gross from any film, you take 60% of that, and that's what goes to the studio, and that's how you kind of get your break-even number. So at $430 million, that would mean it would make not only its production budget back, but also the money it spent on marketing. However, this also states that there are some people who apparently are closer to the inside sources at Deadline who say that it's actually closer to $500 million or more. I think both numbers are wrong. Whenever you get these two types of extremes, normally the truth is somewhere in the middle, and as I said, $430 million is a pretty, I think, safe estimate as to what it needs to make in order to break even at the box office. That being said, it is getting very close to $400 million, and there is some really good news coming out of these numbers that is going to hopefully lead it to eventually crossing that line. But first, let's talk about a couple of things. First, Alita Battle Angel did indeed cross a major box office milestone by crossing that $300 million mark in the foreign market. It's really sad that this movie did not do as well here in the United States. Makes some sense because manga is something that is not really that prevalent in the United States culture, and it is really sad because it's a great movie. It really is. And it's also sad that you have a news media that will go out of its way to protect a movie that just came out this weekend, but when it came to this movie, which also has a strong female character, and when that was the main thing that was being pushed for in the narrative, it just makes you sad because it makes you think, why wouldn't they go to bat with this character who not only has a strong female character, but is also a strong character, who is also just in a strong movie and a strong story. And many, I think, would argue, people who've seen both movies would say, no, story-wise, character-wise, Alita has the better story. So it makes me sad that the media went out of its way, probably because one was coming from a major studio that they knew if they didn't support, they didn't defend, they would probably end up losing their press passes, etc., versus the other where it cost them nothing. It was no risk to them at all if they went after this movie because it was coming from, it was still coming from Fox. And obviously that is going to be taken in by Disney, but it was much less of a risk for them to go after this film than it would have been if had they gone after Captain Marvel. They would have been raked through the coals from not only Disney, but also from their own peers, because it would have been in their own minds and their own opinions, them feeding the trolls, as it were. So it is really sad, because I think that had Alita gotten as much praise and as much respect as Captain Marvel did, when you know just from reading the reviews that it has so many flaws to it, Captain Marvel that is, then you would honestly expect this movie to probably have done just a little bit better at the box office. It just really does, to me, show this bias, this inherent bias that exists, where certain films are chosen and protected, not just Captain Marvel, but a lot of films are chosen and protected and treated in a certain way, but then other films are treated much more harshly, or I would say, you could easily say, maybe even much more fairly or much more accurately. So basically people not making things up. But it's interesting is that they'll go after this movie for various things, but some similar issues that exist in Captain Marvel and other films, they ignore or they make excuses for. It's just really uneven overall, and it's really sad because Alita Battle Angel is overall talking to people who love this film, which is a large number. And obviously, it's not the number of people and the fans of the MCU that's showing up for all the MCU films, but it's still a very strong, passionate base. It kind of reminds me a lot, actually, of another franchise, Blade Runner. Blade Runner was not a huge, giant, financial success, and yet it gained a huge cult following in the later years when later releases of the film came out, and it came to the point where it was so popular among these cult fans that it merited a sequel years later, and that movie was great. And even that movie didn't get any love from the box office, didn't make money, lost money at the box office, and it was an amazing film. What's great about this film, though, is that it's doing well enough to justify, in my opinion, a sequel, because they just recently announced that Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, whatever name you want to go with it, is getting a sequel. That movie cost a little bit more than Alita did and made less than what Alita did. And about, it still took them, about 7 years or so to finally announce a sequel, but it still got one nonetheless. So I think that the hopes for a sequel are very, very high. And it's interesting that the media, again, continue to not really want to go and bat for this film. Yes, we're going to be honest about the box office numbers. It has not broken even yet, according to, I would say, modest estimates, because it still needs to make $430 million to break that, to get to that break-even point. But then you have articles like this that show, oh, there's really not much support around it. Oh, Alita is probably not going to make enough to get a sequel. And again, this might be based in reality, but had this been another movie with another message, I guarantee you that you would have had a very different perspective from this person writing this article. You would have had a very different take on it altogether. You would have had a much more defensive article. You would have had someone going out of their way to try and say, this is why it should get a sequel. Well, this movie should get a sequel. Not only does it set up for one, but it builds a world and builds a universe that is bringing a lot of people together. You know, you could say that about almost any film, but really this one has such a small, because really when you talk about the box office, it is still small, but passionate fan base that love it, that aren't just praising and supporting this film out of hatred. I mean, if anyone ever thought that the whole Alita Challenge thing that was going on was out of hatred, I mean, just because someone might be angry or might show anger or frustration towards one franchise or one movie that's coming out doesn't mean that the whole reason why they're supporting the first film in the first place is because of hatred. I've been on this movie's track ever since I first saw it, before Captain Marvel had even come close to coming out yet at that point, before we really even knew a whole lot about what was going on. This was a movie that I found out about because of my subscribers saying, hey, go see this movie. It doesn't have any identity politics in it. It's just a good story. And that's why I think this movie has captured the hearts of so many people, because yeah, it's not making the money that people would, oh yeah, you could say all the nice things you want, but it's still not going to make any money. Well, okay. How much money a movie makes doesn't mean that it's a good movie. There are plenty of films in history that have been remembered as classics that did not make a whole lot of money. Some people oftentimes forget that movies, for example, like It's a Wonderful Life, when they first came out, were not as well received as they are now. We're not the classics that they are seen now. I see Alita Battle Angel having that type of potential because of the story that it tells. I'm not trying to compare this to a classic and say that this is as good as a modern classic, or rather as the example that I just gave. But I am saying that I think that the passionate fan base is going to be enough to really do push this ahead to a sequel. And one of the many reasons why, and this is the good news that I was getting to before, is the fact, and I can confirm this now based on several sources that I've looked to, but this one says it most clearly because it says it in English without having to use Google Translate. But it says here very clearly that Alita Battle Angel has indeed gotten an extension in China. This is something that is very rare for American films to do. So if you don't know, oftentimes what happens is that in China, not only do they make deals with the studios to only give the studios about 25% or so of the box office returns, which is why even if the studio makes a crap ton of money, even if the movie makes so much money in China, the studio is only going to end up getting around 25%. But this is very good news nonetheless, because it's done very well in China. The Chinese audiences have supported it. Yes, the support has gone down, but the fact that the support has been high enough to the point where they're willing to let this be out in theaters for another month. So now it's going to be playing until and through April 21st. That's a good thing, because the longer this movie is in theaters, it means the more money that it can make, and it means the closer it can not only get to that $400 million mark, but also to that $430 million mark. And now, do I think it's going to make $430 million? Probably not. Sadly not. But the closer it gets to that $430 million, the more likely it is that it's going to get a sequel. Robert Rodriguez has already gone on record saying, I want this movie to get a sequel. I am on board to do a sequel. It all depends on James Cameron as the producer and if he'd be wanting to go forward with the project. And I think that because of the fact that there is a passionate fan base, because of the fact that it has now gotten this China release, and it's gotten rather this China extension, which I said before is a very rare thing for an American film to do, because the other part of the contract is not just 25%, but also it means it only gets 4 weeks to make money. Sometimes they actually will pull it out of theaters. In the case of Solo Star Wars Story, they actually cut that one out after, I want to say, 2 weeks, because it just wasn't doing very well. If Alita is doing that well to the point where they will give it another month, or at least they'll, offer another month to it, I think that's a very good sign that it's still being well received. It has high ratings among the people of China, and also it is still making, money. Maybe not crazy money like it was when it first came out, but it's still making money nonetheless, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that this is something for us to look forward to. And I think that this really does truly show that we do have a voice, that the hashtag Alita Challenge was not something that was simply out of hate, that people like Scott Mendelson, who said the Alita Challenge fails. Well, it depends on what you meant by Alita Challenge. Many of us just said, hey, instead of going to support this giant blockbuster film made by this giant studio, why not just go out of your way to support this smaller film? Yes, it was made for a lot of money, and yes, I know that Fox is still a giant studio, but still, a smaller film with a smaller fan base. Instead, to support that film instead. And guess what? People still saw it. It still made millions of dollars. It still made at least $3.2 million after being taken out of 700 theaters. It dropped out of 700 theaters and still made over $3 million. And I think that's still damn impressive. Because when you think about how many people wanted to see this movie but physically couldn't see it, I imagine that this film probably could have made more. Now, am I saying it would have broken records or it would have broken even because of it? No. What I'm saying is that the Alita Challenge was successful because
do you think a series is just a series? It's more than that.
the Alita Challenge was successful because we have now a release in China, we have an extension in China, and we are getting ever closer to that $40 million mark. And now many prognosticators say that it will indeed, by the end of its run, reach $400 million. And that's a good thing, because the closer it is to that 430, the easier it's going to be for it to make that money back in DVD and Blu-ray sales. Because I'm already talking to so many people who are like, I'm going to buy this day one on 4K, on the 3D if there's one. I'm going to buy the books. I'm going to do everything I can to support this film. Because guess what? All of that money goes towards it. So even if the movie does indeed lose some money, it will still have made enough to be able to offset any costs that it might be able to make up in the DVD and Blu-ray sales overall. So there's a lot of hope for Alita at this point. This extension in China is a very good one. We have no confirmation of a sequel yet, but I think that it's something that we can all look forward to. And even though the media is going to, over the next couple of days, do nothing but try and make excuses for a film that arguably and objectively speaking is just not as good. Oh yeah, look how it says, right here, Marvel's Captain Marvel isn't the best, isn't even in the MCU's top 10, but it works. Once again, this is supposed to be journalism. This is supposed to be people not having opinions on things, and yet they're going to bat for this film. Again, oh, the box office is gigantic, and it all but ensures a sequel. Again, you have these so-called media sites going to bat for it, and yet when Alita came out, they didn't come to bat for it. Now they're still, even just yesterday, saying, oh yeah, it's not going to make enough probably for a sequel. Again, why not support this film? It's got this extension in China. It's crossing milestones, over $300 million at the foreign box office, which is very good. It's still making money here in the United States. It's going to probably end up around 85 to 90 million by the end of its run domestically, and I would say probably getting very close to 310, 320 million by the end of its run overseas as well. And if we can just get it to that point, if we can get it to cross that $40 million point, it's going to be a lot easier for this film to be justified to get a sequel. And if any movie is justified to get a sequel, I believe it's this one. Everyone can talk all they want about, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever because of the agenda attached to it. And you can go down that route and go down that rabbit hole, and you can protect the film all you want, and you can mock the people who are being critical of it, who were saying, hey, there's a lot of problems here, and this is not what we want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand by this film. I'm going to stand by Alita. I'm going to support this film continuously as much as I can, and I'm going to do everything that I can to try and make sure that a movie that, arguably speaking, is of higher quality gets the sequel that is already being called for another. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this movie. I know it's a little bit different than normal. I know that I'm a little bit toned down, but as I said, this is indeed dedicated to Estelle. Obviously, I did have to talk about Captain Marvel a bit because it is, I think, relevant to the discussion about how one movie that's well written, that's well crafted, that's well put together is just kind of put to the side and treated like nothing. And then a movie that comes out that is arguably flawed, has plot holes galore, has so many issues with it, is praised and protected, and it just makes me sad. But as Estelle even says, she's encouraged me not to be negative, and I think that I've been pretty, I think I've been pretty positive, or at least more neutral than I usually am. And but she also, of course, says, but here's some Captain Marvel news. And hey, kudos to Alita Battle Angel, because if there's anything that we can say about Alita Battle Angel, she deserves the spotlight. And if we can just get the spotlight here, that it performed better, that it had a better drop-off than a gigantic film that's probably going to make $1 billion at the box office in its Monday after its opening weekend, hey, I'll take any win as I can get it. So, again, dedicated to you on Twitter. Also dedicated to all the fans of Alita Battle Angel, and also all the fans of the channel who've been so supportive of me and have been with me, especially yesterday after all of the trolls just fell onto this channel and so many other channels, mocking and making fun of and doing all these things. That it's interesting how all of a sudden people are calling you trolls while they themselves are living up to the very definition of what a troll is. We're living in interesting times, but what I can say is that Alita Battle Angel is worth seeing. And as I've said constantly before, go see this movie. For no other political agenda, for no other nefarious purposes, go see it to support a good movie with a passionate fan base that just wants a good film with a good character.
Yes, sir. It is chunky, like you were carrying a briefcase if you had one of these, but it has some advantages compared to modern devices. So even though we weren't really able to plug in our, modern mouse to it very easily, the I/O on this thing is substantial. So check this out. You've got your floppy disk reader. You've got not one, but two PCMCIA expansion slots. So these could actually be used back in the day to add new ports to laptops. Go figure, right? We've got our RJ11 modem port. We've got the PS2 port we ended up using. Check this out. That, my friends, yes, that is infrared. So I believe, though, instead of being used as just like a remote control or to like control your TV, this was actually for wireless data transmission. Yeah, I know, right? We've got our printer port. We've got a dock port, VGA out, serial, and then, moving around. Finally, my arm is like actually falling asleep holding this thing up like this. We've got our CD-ROM drive, and finally, headphone, microphone jacks. Yes, my friend, a headphone jack, and check this out. Here's a feature you haven't seen in a while. A removable battery. Now, I mean, 2.7 amp hours. That is not a lot. And it obviously isn't gonna work very well anymore, but hey, it had it. Oh wow, seriously? When there's an auto run, you can't click anything behind it. Multitasking. There's so many things I completely take for granted these days. All right, let's fire up some Corel WordPerfect. So back to the things that are good about it. This keyboard is amazing. Compared to modern keyboards, you might as well have a mechanical keyboard in your laptop. Like, this is flippin' awesome. The layout's great. It's got dedicated keys for home end, page up, page down. It's got, look at this travel. Listen to that, like that is a laptop keyboard. And check this out. It's even got remappable shortcut buttons. Like, come on. 1996 wasn't such a bad time. I mean, yeah, there's no Windows key. You know what though? 1602 actually can be run on relatively modern machines. And there is a game that I legitimately have not played since like 2002 when the classroom computers actually ran Windows 95, Windows 98. And it's called Liero. Unfortunately, getting it seems like it might be a little tricky. So a lot of you might not realize this, but check this out. Windows 95 is actually pre, like, the blue Internet Explorer icon. This is when, like, Internet Explorer was the name because it was Internet Mail, Internet News, and Internet Explorer. What does Internet News even look like? What do you, please select a folder where Internet Mail should keep your messages. What are you even talking about? Internet News configuration. Holy crap. I think we're fine. So we're gonna have to download the game separately and then just copy it over to here. Except one small problem. Even though the game is small enough to fit on a single floppy disk, I don't have any floppy disks. Does this pop out? Is this floppy drive removable? Holy crap, it is. There must be like a catch somewhere for it. It definitely can't, anyway. Also, RJ45 was considered a fancy pants feature back then, none of that. And of course, even if Windows 95 did support USB storage, it doesn't have any USB ports. And Wi-Fi? Oh, forget about it. That was still a twinkle in the eye of an engineer somewhere. Like that's not a thing. I'll be right back. Fortunately, what is a thing is this old external CD burner that I have, and this spindle of CDRs that I happen to have kicking around. Like, I still remember when if you had a CD burner, you were the coolest kid in class. Like, yeah, they were slow and the software was atrocious. Also, the blank discs were expensive. So when a burn failed, it was like actually a big deal. Like, okay, there goes a few more dollars. Great, thanks for that. But you could move a whopping 650 megabytes of data in between machines or store it safely. And that is exactly what we are gonna do. Now, I don't actually have burning software installed on this laptop because, Why would I? But I seem to recall Microsoft building it in at some point. Okay, how do you want to use this disc? With a CD, DVD player, Liero. Manage, finish burning. Okay. I'm burning a CD. It's been a while. Now, when I say these things were slow, like I really mean it. I'm going at a speed that is about 8 times what we would have had back then in the early days of CD burning. I'm only writing like a mega files, and it's still taking this long because there was the preamble and the the finishing process that had to be done on the disk regardless of how much you wrote to it. So let's see if this works. Fortunately, if it didn't, I've got this whole spindle that definitely is not earmarked for any other purpose. So Brian must have actually burned this for me. That's awesome. Thanks, dude. Hey, there we go. Holy crap, I think it worked. Liero Windows 98. Give her a second here. Gotta ramp up that disk. Okay, is this gonna work? Oh, IRQ5! Extended memory successfully initialized. Press any key. Oh yeah, Liero v1.33, baby. Hey Jake, you wanna play some Liero? Liero. So it's local multiplayer only.
Oh, so am I like WASD and you're...
Well, you're RFDG, and then you need fire, change weapons, and jump. If it helps at all, mine's really not much better.
Left.
So there's a mini-map down here.
Wait, I think I played this before.
No, there's a way to dig fast. Ah, there it is. You hold the direction you want to go, and then you press back. So you spam back. I think this keyboard has ghosting issues.
Oh, I see.
So only one of us can dig at a time. Let's get some explosives going on up in this biz.
I'm stuck, oh no.
Oh crap. That was not what I meant to do.
Oh
crap.
Get slaughtered.
That slow reload is killing me here.
No, I can't even aim. Oh no.
Oh right, the hook shot. What? I can't change my weapons because you're holding down keys.
Yes. This is
no.
a match.
I can't change my weapon. Nah, you're done.
We have 14 lives. We're gonna be here all day.
Yeah, when you're better at the game and the controls are working, it actually goes pretty quick. What? Oh, the grasshopper is really powerful.
What the hell?
Okay, next point wins, I guess.
Yeah.
Shoot. I shouldn't have said that. And I'm done.
Thanks, bud.
Now, one of the other things I used my laptop for when I was a teenager was looking at pictures. So the problem, though, is that when you... Did that just use Internet Explorer to open a picture? It did. It is downloading it. Now, fortunately, many older computers, if you went into the properties, much like you would today, allowed you to, here we go, change the color palette from the default to. And we have to explore. Oh, lame. The yellow and blue player got big ships to start. So settling a southern island is good late game because you've got like cotton and all that kind of stuff, but actually northern islands were better for food production. We have to explore the island. One moment, please. This island's resources have been... Night, and that's a look at not the laptop that I owned as a kid, but one that is pretty darn close. It was a hand-me-down actually from my half-sister's dad, so it was already worthless then, and it's even more worthless now. World of Warships is a free-to-play strategy action game that some would refer to as a thinking man's action game. You can battle it out with 7...
But Brant wasn't always a DIY internet guru. In fact, before building his own ISP, he swore off technology altogether.
We came out here 6 now, I think.
Which was exactly what was the most challenging for me and Emma. I think it was a good couple months that we had no internet, and I felt a little resentful. We're kind of stuck out here in this isolated place. It became apparent that Emma would need internet for school.
The burden that my daughter felt for school was heavy. She was bouncing back and forth between staying late at school, going to the public library, maybe going to Starbucks when the library closed and she still wasn't done with her homework. But it was very slow. Public Wi-Fi is just terrible. The cell phone service was really our only option, but that proved to be extremely expensive. My wife came home with the bill, $707. That was the last straw. There's got to be a better way to do this.
He's not one to just sit back, just say, there's nothing we can do. He will find a solution.
I knew that there was a cell phone tower in our close proximity. I thought maybe that would be a good direction to start investigating.
So Brant began searching for the cell tower. After chasing down utility trucks, he eventually found it, and the company that owned the fiber line attached to it. But he had a problem. No one would return his calls.
It was like silence for 6 months, and then one day I got this call out of the blue saying, now what is it you're trying to do out there? I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We get to talk to somebody. I just want the internet. I don't want to play these games or whatever. Just open the pipe up and let me have access.
After months of negotiations, Brant eventually got a fiber line installed directly into his garage.
That really solved my internet problem. Some of my closer neighbors asked if they could buy in. I was just being bombarded with people just saying, hey, sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. And I didn't even know if I could do it. Hey, Terry, how are you?
Good. You remember Claire?
I do. Oh, my goodness.
And I was actually really skeptical about it. I was imagining that the service would be bad, the speed would be slow, and we'd have problems.
So have you been able to get out on the water lately?
He's got this great energy about him, not at all afraid of us pestering him about our service. My partner and I can actually both work from home at the same time, which would never happen with the other service. To have that choice of something other than the bigger companies that were providing terrible service has been huge.
Right here actually is the fiber coming into my garage, my interface to the fiber connection. This head-end unit really is the brains for disseminating all the information which go to the antennas up on my roof that actually get the signal out there. That's how we do it.
I feel like there are no limitations now. Now that we have internet and it's fast and it's good, Emma was ecstatic. She just finished her freshman year at Berkeley. I think she saw it as him doing this for her. It made her happy.
So the spirit of DIY in my mind is anybody